And we're back on track. Welcome to the Tin Can. This will be a last chapter regarding briefings. I know. Tough pill to swallow, right? But I remain convinced we had to go through it so you could see the importance of establishing strong foundations for the creative work ahead. So let's get started. This chapter is composed of 3 videos. If you missed previous ones, I recommend you watch those first and then come back here. So in the previous video, we managed to define 4 important boundaries based on the briefing. Now that we clarified who is the client and what they do, let's dig more into what the project is about. The briefing mentions this. The IFRC will launch a creative campaign that centers around Humanitarian Service Points, HSPs, that aims to position the IFRC as a leader in the protection of migrants. The IFRC network has over 600 of those HSPs globally. I don't know you, but I had no idea what an HSP was. What does it look like? What is its function? Who operates it? Globally? Where? Ask yourself those questions, and the rabbit hole only gets deeper. And you now realize that what seemed to be like a dry brief, in fact contains a ton of information waiting for us to be discovered. To avoid a long technical rant, I will share with you the digested research information. Humanitarian service points are volunteers taking the pulse every day of migration fluxes and going to designated locations to provide basic life-saving things such as food and water, but also less obvious: showering, the ability to sleep safely, calling family members abroad, and sometimes even just talking. It is a safe space. HSPs can be a van, a boat, a tent, or the front room of a house. It's not the shape or form that counts, it's what it provides. They are operated by volunteers, people like you and me. Where? Currently, there are migration fluxes all over the world, despite some of them getting more coverage than others. So, sea, jungle, deserts, train stations, you name it. Boundary number 5. HSP's shape or form varies enormously. Boundary number 6. Actions are taken worldwide. So whatever comes out creatively from this project, it has to be representative of everyone going through this hardship. We cannot be too localized or refer to a particular event, culture, or ethnicity. Boundary number 7. Ultimately, it's not the HSP that matters, but what composes it. And that is the people and their stories. Sometimes the volunteers were migrants before too. We aren't even done with it yet, but at this point, my head was already like buzzing with images, sounds, emotions, and ideas. But we have to contain them, since it isn't the time for that yet. We still have work to do. Next, research. What is this campaign for and for whom? Boundary number 8. It is an awareness campaign targeted to everyone, but also potential partners for humanitarian response, governments, and policymakers. So the video in this case can be also seen as a tool for advocacy. And last but not least, always a classic, boundary number 9, budget. This will dictate how crazy we can go or how creative we will have to be to make it happen due to confidentiality reasons. I cannot disclose what the budget was. What I can say is that it was inferior to what this type of production would usually require. That is generally the reality of humanitarian sector, and I don't blame them. Money should go to help people first and making videos second. I'm sorry, we ain't doing Jurassic Park in this one. All of this, of course, is a simplified version of all the work I had to do to find all this information. And there were more boundaries, but I think by now you get the gist of it. Before rushing in, I always do my research. There is a fair chance that you will get on a call or a meeting room with a client not too far down the road. This always helps me prepare for unanswered questions I may have, adapt my approach to speak the same language, and more importantly, it will show the client that I did the work, that I understand, and that I care. So let's quickly recap the defined boundaries we could find during our first research phase for this case study. 1. The client is a global brand with activities all over the world, meaning whatever you're doing for them must be applicable and understandable globally. 2. Their main activity is the well-being of humanity. This defines strongly what their priorities are and how they communicate. 3. This is serious talk. 4. Language important keywords, positive outcome, respect, and dignity. 5. HSP's shape or form varies enormously. 6. Actions are taken worldwide. We cannot be too localized or refer to a particular event or culture. 7. Ultimately, it's not the HSP that matters, but what composes it, and that is the people and their stories. 8. It is an awareness campaign targeted to everyone, but also a tool for advocacy. And finally, 9. Budget. Decent, but with some serious limitations. We were able to extract a lot more information than what was visible initially. I follow this methodology meticulously for every brief or pitch. It avoids me so many frustrations or taking wrong path when presenting concepts. The boundaries are something I always come back to when I'm stuck, so I don't lose track of what the real objectives are. This marks the end of the briefing chapter. Not the funniest part of the job we do, but a crucial one. A good exercise for you to do is apply this methodology to this brief or any other briefs you may have and see what you get from it. And please share your results in the comments. In the next chapter, we will embark on the initial creative explorations. There, I will share how I started structuring ideas and different concepts, how I gave them a hierarchy, and what techniques I used to find inspiration. So, the fun can now begin. See you on the next chapter. Bye.